Yes, hello people. Welcome once again to Inspirational Explorer Bootcamp 1.0. This is another tutorial on Canva class, and I want to believe this will most likely be the last Canva class we'll be having. We want to proceed to designing on Photoshop and Illustrator. For those who have been anticipating this, yes, we are finally there, right? That's good. I want to believe by now you are done with your design A and you are ready to move to design B. By now, you must have gotten yourself familiar with Canva. I want to explain something again, just as I did in the previous class, as to the layout, the format for the alignment of your designs. Let's take a look at this. A brief guide to alignment, a design principle. I want you to read further on this. You can visit this website, Vengage, to learn more on alignment. Looking at this, your alignment should follow this pattern. Either this way, your text particularly, right? Your image can be placed beside it or whichever place you want to place it. Just make sure it follow this pattern. This pattern, like this way, it comes this way downward. You see this as well. It can also come this way downward, or you can have your design all layout like this for your text. And you can also have it centered such that it will give you V shape, either upward like this or downward like this. Just make sure that your design is well centered, right? Or you follow this pattern to the right. This way, you can see that. Then this way, you can see that it is not out of alignment from this point. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean later on. However, I would like to lay emphasis that there are designs that you have to think outside the box. In fact, in design class, we are always told that you should always think as if there is no box, right? You can be creative. There are some designs that you don't have to follow this one, just be creative around it, give it top-notch design and make it unique. Yes, but when you are designing for brand, it is very expedient that you follow this alignment principle. Then someone will ask me, how about the design we did for design A? Something like this. You will ask that, okay, which alignment does it follow? Yes, for our text followed center alignment. You can see just that. Then how about the arrangement? Let me show you something. Take a look at this. This is also alignment style, right? It stay within the box. Will you say that this is aligned? This is not aligned, but this stayed within the box and it gives us a good shape. So let's look at our design A. Let me zoom in a little. So this is kind of design that you just have to be creative around it, right? You don't necessarily have to box your design, but you still make it clean, unique, and it still stand out, minimalistic, right? Now take a look at this. Will you say that this is aligned? No, it's not. It's not aligned. You can see that it's not staying on the line. So despite the fact that you have to follow a certain alignment principle that either left aligned, centered aligned, or right aligned, don't arrange it anyhow from the angles, right? Stay within the box. Stay within the box. You can see that everything here, it's on a single line. Let's go back to the first picture I showed us. So you'll be able to link it with this. You can see that despite the fact that everything is having a kind of pattern that it's following, it's not outside the line from this angle, right? This also is not outside the line from this angle. Everything is within the box. It's just this edge that we are adding some kind of pattern to. You can see that this one as well, everything stayed on a single line. And your alignment can also follow this guideline. You can see this way, like forward to this side or upward this way. You can see it. You can bring it this way. You can bring your arrangement this way. If I flip this as well, your arrangement can come the other way around as well. You can see this image the way it is from the right as well. Everything seems to rhyme together. That's just the simple way to make your design stand out. If you want further details on alignment, I will advise you to read more on that. Without any further ado, let's go straight to our design for today. In our design for today, I won't be taking much time. Let me just add a new page. I would like to give a title to my design page. That's design A, then design B. With this justly done, I would like to start the design process. In this design, I won't be doing detailed analysis as we did in the previous one because everything we'll be doing in this design, we've gone through the whole process in our first design, second design. So by now, I believe you must have gotten handy of this. I will just tell you this is what to place, this is what to place, and you just have that done. Let me lay emphasis on something. For every of our design, you don't need to recreate logo. You don't need to recreate the logo. You can just drag in the logo that has been designed by your client, except if your client asks you to redesign a logo or design a logo for the product, then you have to charge extra for that. But then, most of the cases, there is always a logo readily available. All you just have to do is to bring the logo in. But then I will just show you a little of how I came about this one. You can see that it's our previous logo, but there was just a little change in it, right? Also remember for the button, I told you that the primary color, which is red here, is what we use for our button here. It's also what we use for the 50% off. Remember this design brief. Let me show you. The summary of the template that we created, right? Delicious food menu, taste with a difference, 50% discount off, order now. If you want to get the height of how I went about this, just check our previous tutorial. You'll get to understand everything that I did in this design. Back to business, the first thing we need to do is to bring in a background. Let's search under element, red gradients. I'm going to bring in this first image. Once I have it as the background, I will search for halftone pattern isolated. I'm going to bring this one in. The moment I have it in, I'm going to scale it up to fit with the shape. Just perfect. I'm going to reduce this opacity to something around 50 or 52. The next thing is to search for rough paper edge. I'll be using this particular one, the torn paper tear paper piece. Then I will scale it up. We have it adjusted down here. Then we change the color to white. When scaling up, make sure that this part it's not showing. So you have to scale it a bit up more. With this well positioned, we have our background layer all set. Now let's bring in every other component of this design. Based on your preference, you can either bring in the text and arrange it, or you bring in the image that you want to use for this design and arrange it as well. It depends on you completely. The image I'll be using in this design, it's hard to find on Canva, so I'm going to make it readily available for you in the description below. You can download the asset and make use of it. But then I'm going to show you how I created that bow. Under upload, I'm going to bring in this image. I have to download it from one of the Instagram page. I will scale this up a little for proper view. The next thing we have to do here, who can guess, is to remove the background. You guessed right. I'll just click on background remover, let it do the work. Once it is done, we have to upscale this image for it to look nice on this background. Remember, you need Canva Pro for most of this feature. I'm going to click on image upscale. The moment I click on image upscale, I'll select 4 times. I want it to scale up and clean. Click on upscale image, then replace it. You can see how nice and sharp our image is looking. We need to add shadow to this image. To create that shadow, click on edit, select shadow, then go for backdrop shadow. Once you have it right there, the blur amount, just leave it at 10. The direction, I'm going to set it to just 1. For the intensity, I'm going to reduce it to 34. I'm going to speed up this entire process. Once you have that set, I'm going to bring in this tomato slice. Just search for tomato slice. I will also copy one of the leaves we have right here. I will paste it down here and position it. So if I didn't explain the process, just do that manually. I'm going to add a motion blur to this. Based on your preference, I'm going to add around 60 to this. I'm going to add around 60 to this as well. Once I have that all set, I'm going to create this back circle. When I have that created, I'm going to duplicate it just as we did in the previous tutorial. Then add stroke of about 2 to this. The outline, give it a broken effect and set it to just white color. With this all set, just make sure that whatever you are placing on this, it's well aligned. I'm going to click on this and select this together. Select multiple option. I'm going to click on position. Remember how we align it. I'm going to click on center. Check if this is also aligned. You can see that it's aligned. I will bring in our text. I will type delicious or just copy it from the design brief given to us. Change the text color to white. Change the font option to script. Under script, that will be handwriting. Then search for style script. You can keep scrolling until you find it, or you just type it in manually, style script. It's a premium font, so if you don't have access to premium, you might not be able to use this. You might just have to select another font entirely. I would change the font size to 96 just to make it bigger. I will also improve on the color. So I'm making use of this orange color, that is FF7017. Check if it's centered aligned, well centered. I will duplicate this font. I will type food menu. I know that was in capital letter. There's an easy way to just change it to uppercase. I will select this option and just change it to uppercase. The moment it's set to uppercase, I'm going to change this font to Zoomy Rough. Zoomy Rough Bold is a free font, so you can download that. I'm going to increase the size to around 144. Then the color to white, so that there can be a good contrast between this and this. Make sure it is centered. Once you have it positioned closer to delicious, check if it's centered with this position. With that centered, we are going to do a little bit of trick to make this font look more attractive and close to us. I'm going to select effect. Once we have the effect selected, click on shadow. Then under shadow, the offset, set it to 42. The direction, leave it at 45, minus 45. If the blur at 0, change the transparency to 28. The block color, click on this to change the block color. Let's change it to black. You can see that we have it looking more creative and alive. You can set your own the way you want it. There is no restriction to this. Just make sure it's looking nice and well blended with this. You can play around with the blur directions, the offset, and see how it works. You can play around with the shadow directions, offset, the blurs, the transparency, and see how it works. The next font I'll be bringing in, someone will say is Montserrat, but I'm not bringing in Montserrat. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing it well. But then the next font I'll just be bringing in, I'll just bring in is body text just to make it align with this. I will change it to Roboto. I'll change the color to white. Then I will edit the text type and the font size. So that was set to 24. And this is the text. Taste with a difference, just 24. With this all sets, we are getting close to rounding up our design. I'll duplicate this text as well. Then I'll bring it right here. What I would have suggested, instead of duplicating this text and trying to bring in our 50% of text, we might not go through this route. I'll just delete this. Then I will take away this outline. What I should have done initially was to bring in the text before adding the outline, but we can correct that, right? Just double click on this, type in 50%, hit enter, then type off, all in capital letter. Once we have that, highlight your text, change it to Roboto, that's what we are using. Increase it to about 30. 32 is fine by me. Make it bold. Do something quite interesting to make this fun. Click on the spacing, decrease the padding to 0. Then let's work on the text spacing. Let's bring it more closer. Leave it at 0.99. Then reposition this. You can highlight both the one at the back and the one at the front to center align it. Just perfect, center, and it is. The next text to add is order now, all in capital letter. Make sure it is Roboto, size 24. You might want to lock this so you don't accidentally move it. Now to the final punch. You want to tell them that for delivery, we had it here. Then we also had the logo right here. For delivery, use size 14 for Roboto. And for the phone number as well, use hyphen to separate them. 434, that is 11. Nigeria phone number. Then make it size 20. For the logo, I'm going to include the PNG in the description below. Just have it downloaded, then drag it in here from your upload, position it right, then you are done. If you want to redesign, all I did was this text, I made it 21.3, while this was just 16.9. Then I position this from the top. You remember our logo in the previous design? I position it by the side. Then I centered everything to make it unique. With this done, we have just one final punch for this. For these icons, I brought it into Canva because if you manually search for it under Elements, you might spend the whole day looking for it. So all I did was to bring it in manually. So I was able to use it in this design. Just check the description below and you can download this icon, position them with this and position them well, properly. Make sure it's not too close to this and it's not touching the edge. Remember the rule that I said in our first tutorial that always avoid the edge of design. You can still even bring this one a bit further. With this, our design is complete and just perfect. You can export this and send to your client and you are all done. The final process I will show us now is how to export in Canva. Yes, you will say you already know how to export, but let me just explain some certain terminologies to some persons that might not understand the concept. Because there is a standard for exporting for screen and for printing. Yes, if you want to export for screen, the standard is different from that of printing. Right here, if you click on share and you click on download, it will give you various options. You can export as PNG. PNG is very good in quality. It retains the quality of the design. PNG is portable network graphics, right? You can just export it and make use of it. Most especially when you want to export your logo, it's advisable that you export in PNG. What PNG does is it makes your background transparent. In this case, it won't do that because this is not a logo. It's going to export it as normal JPEG, but the size might just be a bit higher than the regular JPG file. So it is a portable network graphics. It's a way whereby when you work with illustration or things like that for logo, you can just export it in PNG. It retains the logo. It's fine for transparent background. The moment you export PNG, it makes your background look just transparent the way it came. If you want to export for JPG, this one is generally for all your web page, your did I just say web page? I mean your social page, your social media page. You can just export it in this format. Then you have it delivered to your client. They have it posted to their social media page. Let me also speak about the size. For the size, if you want to export it 2 times, you want it to be bigger 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, depending on what you want. The moment you start increasing this size, you will notice that this is also increasing. The aspect ratio is increasing as well. As you keep going higher, it keeps increasing. I'll just leave mine at 1. For the quality, to boost the quality, depending on size of what you want, when you export it at 80 and you notice that the quality is not sufficient enough for you, you can increase it to your own size or decrease it to the size that you want. It just works on the quality and the size. The higher the quality, the higher the size of the file. For PDF standard, this one is generally just universal PDF size. You want to print it in PDF for network, for mobile device. Yes, you can just use this PDF. But if you want to send it for printing, I will advise you not to go for this. I will advise you to go for PDF print. If you want to create crop mark and bleed, the moment you tick this is going to create the crop mark and bleed. Someone that is very familiar with printing, once he sees this or he or she sees this, the person will know exactly what this is talking about. You can click on this info to get more information about what bleed is all about. It shows the outer parts, the parts that you don't need in part of the design. Don't go beyond this part. So once it is printed, the mark will be there, so it will not crop into your image. If you want to include notes, you can include notes for the printers to take note of some certain things in your design. It's up to you. Your color profile is very experienced that you change it to CYMK. You can only have access to this CYMK when you are subscribed to Premium. Without it, you can't access CYMK. But if you want to print for banner, for flyer, for posters, I advise you to go for CYMK. That's the best for printing. Although there are some situations whereby you might just have to go for RGB, right? In case of maybe your frame, things like that. There are some certain design that you have to work with RGB despite the fact that it's for printing. But I advise you to communicate with your printer to know exactly how it should be sent so that when it's printing, you won't have problem with it. CYMK is cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. This one is the constant in everything. While RGB is red, green, and blue. Back to business. For SVG, you can export this when you are going for animation and things like that. Probably you have an animation here and you want to integrate it to your web. It is advisable that you print it in SVG. SVG format, it retains all the details. For instance, if you want to send this file to a web designer, once you send it in SVG, you will have the flexibility to edit everything in the design. You have the flexibility to change the color, to change the layout. It's just like you are sending back the design file to him or her. That's for SVG, majorly for web designer. MP4 format, of course, that's for video. Why GIF? We all know what that one is. Short clip, no sound. It works perfectly fine. For printing, I just want to show you how the bleeds work for CYMK and the reason why you must avoid some certain part of the design. I exported our file for printing and CYMK color. I just want to show you how the outcome will look when you have to print this or when you want to print this. You can see this area, this point is showing the trim area. From this point, anything around this area will be cut off. And from this area, anything around this area will be cut off. That's why I brought the leaf as an extension to this point so that when this part is cut off, at least we still have a sign of the leaf around it. You can check this place as well. So you now know the reason why we need to keep maximum space around the design area. This as well, you can see everything around this part will be cut off. These parts, they are not necessary. They are outside the design premises, so they can be cut off. You can see that this is also expanding out. It will be cut off when printing. Every extension outside the design will be completely trimmed off. That is how it works. And you can see that this is just so awesome and perfect. I can zoom out for a better view of it per page. You can see that right there. And that brought us to the end of Canva process design. I want to challenge you from now henceforth. You can then go ahead to make use of any template. You won't know how much knowledge you've acquired by following these 3 consecutive class of Canva class until you start making use of templates and you just see that, oh, this is so easy. Oh, this is fun to do. If you have any templates that you so much love, you can redesign them, you can recreate them, you can make adjustments to them, improve on the design, make it better. Then you see that you've really learned a whole lot under these 3 days of graphic design class. I want to challenge you as well. Go further, explore more, see more tutorials on graphic design using Canva, learn more. By the time you start using software, you see that you've acquired so much knowledge and everything will just work so fine and perfectly for you. You won't have issue with PNG format, you won't have issue with any of the design. Just as I said earlier, that PNG, especially these assets that we use, these ones are called PNG. They don't have background, they are just transparent. That is a perfect example of what PNG is. By the time we get to our Photoshop class, you won't have to struggle with any of this design at all. You will just see that it's so easy and fun to work with. Remember, if you need access to Canva Premium, I have that right at my fingertip. I can connect you, then you just pay a minimum amount, and that is just a token for a lifetime access to Canva. You don't have to pay monthly subscription, weekly subscription, also a lifetime access to Canva. And that's it. You can chat me up, reach out to me, or any of the platform whereby you can just get in touch with me, either in the comment section in the classroom, by chatting me privately. How we grant you the access to this for a token. Let me add this final thing to it. Whenever you're searching for any template in Canva under design, just search for it and add creative, like add creative to it. For instance, when I wanted to search for this, I had to search for creative school flyer design and it gave me something like this. And I love the outcome. You can see many more templates under it. Whenever you're searching, just add creative to your word of whatever you want to add, whatever you want to search for. You can see something like this. Welcome back to school. Stuff like that. Just search for something creative, work with them, and you will love it. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, if you have any question, make use of the comment section, reach out to me in the classroom, chat me up, and we'll get connected. See you in the next one.